Good evening, everyone. If you would, please take your seats so we can begin the program. I see we still have a few people getting their photos taken, and that's fine. We can start, and they can still have their photos taken, and everything will work out fine. I believe most of you already know me by sight, but for those who may have been marooned on a deserted island for the last few years, I'm Doug Gaddis. I've served as the village's executive. Thank you. I've served as the village's executive director for just over 4 years, so only about 40% of the village's lifespan to date. And I could not possibly be happier that this anniversary celebration is falling during my watch. What a wonderful event. And I hope all of you are having as much fun sharing this special evening with friends and neighbors as I have been. We have nearly 200 guests here tonight. Many of you are members, volunteers, or donors. But we also have several special guests, and I'd like to recognize the elected officials who've joined us this evening. In the interest of time, please hold your applause until all are standing. From Montgomery County Government, we have County Executive Mark Elrich. You people just don't listen. From the County Council, we have Council President Evan Glass, Council Member Kate Stewart, and Council Member Natalie Fani Gonzalez. And from the Maryland House of Delegates, we have Delegate Lorig Charkoudian, Delegate Bernice Miracle North, and Delegate Janelle Wilkins. You know, here in Montgomery County, we are so very fortunate to have such outstanding local and state government leaders, people who are deeply committed to the well-being of older adults as part of the community's social fabric. They work tirelessly to ensure that the county is a great place to grow up, a great place to raise a family, and a great place to grow old. So again, thank you to our electeds. I'd also like to introduce another body of elected leaders, the village's board of directors. I would tell you to hold your applause, but you're not going to listen anyway, so I'm just not going to say it. We have Sue Decker, president, Connie Robb, vice president, Catherine Anderson, treasurer, Beverly Lunsford, secretary, Lori Ekstrand, there she is, just a plain old member. Cheryl Gardner, Carolyn Lauer, who I think could not be here tonight, Gail McDonald, Joe Reinhardt, Darren Vieira, and our two newest board members just elected this past June, Sarah Daines and Beverly Moss. Each of these folks puts in hundreds of hours a year guiding the village to be the best possible version of itself, and they deserve all of our thanks. And now I'd like to recognize my partners in crime, the two people who work so tirelessly alongside me to keep things humming along each and every day. You can't imagine how nice it is to work with such funny, kind, and talented people. Our Director of Volunteer Services, Vanessa Ritz, And though I still think of her as new, she's actually been with us for almost a year, our operations manager, Brooke Kenny. And finally, I would like to also recognize a few other special guests. The village had 2 executive directors before me. The first, Marcy Frosch, had planned to be here tonight, but a brush with COVID has kept her away. That's a story we keep hearing. The second, Debbie Rumel, was able to join us, though. Coming along directly on her coattails, I'm very grateful to Debbie for her time guiding the village and building the organizational structures that will stand the test of time. Montgomery County is home to 26 villages. That's something like 10% of all of the villages in the United States. This has been possible because of the early and extraordinary leadership at the county's Department of Health and Human Services. I'd like to express our appreciation to the county's village coordinator, Pazita Vive. Stand up. Pazita is an amazing resource and a font of village wisdom. I'd also like to welcome Mary Jo Deering, president of the Washington Area Villages Exchange. And Doran Flowers, executive director at Little Falls Village in Bethesda. Okay, so it's time to get a little energized. You all look bored. So let the folks out on the plaza hear that you're having a good time. So let's make some noise. That's so much better because there are a handful of villagers who put this entire evening together. Let's thank our anniversary celebration chair, Peggy Gervasi, and her amazing team of committee and other helpers who attended to every detail of tonight's celebration. So we're calling tonight's event an anniversary celebration. But for just a minute, I want to reframe that and think of it as a birthday party. Because it's really about remembering that this village was once just a twinkle in someone's eye. And the little bundle of joy had some great aunts and uncles, all eager to dispense good advice and willing to be the voice of experience and reason should the young village ever go astray. A handful of people, so few that they could all sit around a single dining room table, gave birth to and nurtured this amazing thing we call our Silver Spring Village. We've all heard that it takes a village to raise a child, but I think it's equally true that it takes a village to raise a village. So let's see who our village is. Now, I'll warn you, this next part is going to move fast, so I'll give you a second to put down your wine glass, push your plate away, put your purse on the floor, and get ready to leap out of your seat when it's your turn. Or you can hobble out of your seat, whatever is better. If you are a current or a former staff member at the village, please stand and remain standing. If you're a current or former board member, please stand. If you've chaired a committee, please stand. If you're a member of the finance, communications, or governance committees, it's time to get up. If you're a member of the program, membership, or volunteer committees, go ahead and join them. If you've ever hosted a village event in your home or on your patio or in your backyard or on your deck or your roof or your basement, take a bow. If you've done any sort of other administrative volunteering, from licking stamps, which I guess we don't really do anymore, to answering the phone, to working on the newsletter, and 1,000 other mundane tasks, please stand. If you're a donor, stand with truly our heartfelt thanks. If you're a volunteer who provides rides, household tasks, friendly visits and calls, errands, tech assistance, medical note-taking, or any other services to village members, please stand. If you're a member of this village, please stand. If you are an elected official with your hands on the levers of power, and more importantly, on the levers of the pocketbook, please stand. So, everyone take a good long moment to look around. Silver Spring Village isn't some sort of social services agency. We're a community of people who care deeply about one another and are willing to move heaven and earth to get things done. This is what I call village magic. You are the village magic. Give yourselves a round of applause. All right. You can all sit down now, calm down. So now that we've indulged ourselves in a little self-congratulation, let's consider what we've built together. Silver Spring Village is Maryland's largest village and among the largest in the nation. We are known among sister villages, other nonprofits, and the business community as a reliable collaborator. We are the Greater Silver Spring Chamber of Commerce's Nonprofit of the Year and have been designated by the Chronicle for Philanthropy, now known as Spur Local, as one of the most critical and highly trusted nonprofit organizations in the greater DC area. And just by way of explaining a little bit about that, keep in mind that there are over 18,000 nonprofits in the DC area. So we're at the top. We're a leader in the village movement on both the regional and national levels. We navigated the COVID pandemic brilliantly, figuring out how to do old things in new ways. We were possibly the first village in the nation to begin programming on Zoom, just 5 days after the state of emergency was declared. We experienced just one single case of COVID among all of our members during the first year and a half of the pandemic, when things were really looking dire. COVID sparked a growth spurt as people came to realize that a village isn't just a nice thing to have, but it's an indispensable partner in facing the challenges of aging. Today, we are 281 members strong. In the last year, our 100 direct service volunteers completed 1,834 tasks for members. Over our 10-year history, volunteers have fulfilled over 18,000 services that required more than 67,000 hours of their time. That's the equivalent to more than 32 people working full-time for an entire year. And the value of their gift of time is more than $2.3 million. We do have the best volunteers of any nonprofit organization in this area. I'm just going to say that. We know that loneliness and isolation among older adults is at pandemic levels in America. The most recent national survey tells us that just 39% of older adults feel that they have sufficient companionship. But among our villagers, through our annual member survey, 80% of you tell us that you rarely or never feel lonely or isolated. In the last year, we organized 950 social, educational, recreational, and cultural activities for a combined audience of over 6,100 people. Over our 10 years, more than 27,000 people have attended our more than 4,500 events. Silver Spring Village is growing and becoming more diverse as we deliberately seek ways to reach out to underserved communities and use our programming platforms to celebrate the richness of the many cultures in our village's service area. And the village has accomplished all of that while maintaining the lowest membership fees of any full-service village in the region. In the coming months, we'll roll out an integrated curriculum of health and wellness events, launch a new, more user-friendly website complete with an online portal featuring a rich array of resources available to members and all other older adults in our community. We will reinvigorate the neighborhood feel of our village and reignite our social media presence to spread the word about just how darn good we are. Several of our elected officials want to help us celebrate this remarkable achievement, so I'll introduce them and turn over the podium for their comments. I understand they're going to do this in group formation, so we will welcome County Executive Mark Elrich, Council President Evan Glass, Council members Natalie Fani Gonzalez, and Kate Stewart.
Thank you. So I appreciate targeting us with "this is the source of money" label. You could have substituted that on the balloons, and I think it would have been clear. I'm really happy to be here. And I'm one of the I'm probably the senior member of the council. I think I'm even older than Sydney, as I recall. So I'm 73. And so I understand the importance of the village, and I understand people wanting to age in place and, be able to continue life as they knew life. And I think that's a really important thing that one of the things the village has helped make possible, and have always, been assets to the community in that way. The pandemic showed us a lot about interconnectivity, obviously. You always hate to think about the good side of it, but you learned a lot from the pandemic, and people pivoted. You pivoted in a couple of days. We pivoted to pretty much fully teleworking within 2 weeks, pretty much, of the pandemic. We just did something we never thought we were going to be able to do, and then we turned it around because we had to. COVID is still with us. A somewhat grim reminder of that. It is still here. You were, during the pandemic, the most vaccinated portion of the population, and you became the most vaccinated portion really early. And while we saw a lot of political nonsense during COVID, with 99% about vaccination, you didn't care whether you were Democrats or Republicans. You just knew that you wanted to be alive to see your family, friends, for the coming year, and you didn't get caught up in the politics of the vaccine. You just got vaccinated. And I think that's a real tribute to you in getting that done. It was important. And you still remain the most vulnerable population. So when I tell you there's a new vaccine out there, please come and get it. Your boosters are waning. My booster is waning. So the new boosters are tied to the new version, new variants of the virus. And it's important that you go out and get your vaccination. So please do that. You did it right the first time. We're worried right now because we see our vaccination rates for COVID being roughly the same as the flu rate, but COVID's actually more deadly than the flu. So if you're getting vaccinated because you're worried about the flu, you ought to get vaccinated because you're worried about COVID. So please keep that in mind and think about that as we go on. This Neighbors Helping Neighbors principle is really important. I see this in Tacoma Park. If I go down to downtown Tacoma, it's not unusual to see somebody with a village label carrying somebody or helping somebody get around Tacoma Park and get them to services. And so that's something I can see in just a small corner of my universe, and I really appreciate seeing it out there, and I know how important it is to people. The breaking of isolation, which is one of the things that's most important about the village, is the ability to keep people from feeling isolated, is really, really important because it contributes to mental health and it contributes to physical health. When people begin to feel disconnected. They begin to feel bad about themselves. Depression is a health issue for people. It's not just a mental state. It becomes a physical state. So everything you do to keep people feeling connected and feeling part of a community contributes to both their mental and physical health. So I thank you for doing that and for creating this kind of value in the community. You are critically important. I'm going to continue to fund villages. I think it's important that, you can. And this is one of those things that, the council and executive, regardless of the council or the executive, is something we've all agreed on. We recognize the value of what you bring. There's nothing else to substitute. It's not like we can say if you didn't have the villages, there's something else we could plug in its place. There's nothing else that we could plug in its place. And I'm proud of this county's services and the connections we make for people and the assistance we give for people. But there's no substitute for the genuine human connection of somebody who's doing this, because they're part of the community, they see you part of the community, and they want to help at a very personal level. So I don't want to, take anything away from what we do, but I also want to acknowledge there's something special about the way the villages and the people who participate in the villages interact with their cohorts in the community that makes that contribution special. So I want to give you credit for, I think, a lot of wonderful things. I'm going to stay, for a little bit, but I have to go tonight to a synagogue. There are obviously some other unfortunate things happening in the world, and I feel compelled to be there. But I just wanted to make sure I came by here and let you all know how much I value you and reassure you that as we go through the budget process, you're at the top of our concerns. You're not at the bottom of our concerns. And that we're going to continue to look out and make it possible for you to grow and be successful. So thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. County Executive. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Evan Glass. I'm president of the council. And for me, this feels like a homecoming, right? Because I remember 10 years ago, thank you, Jane. Always cheering for me. I appreciate that. No, I remember 10 years ago when I was chair of the Silver Spring Citizens Advisory Board, and Delegate Bernice North was vice chair, and Sue Decker was on the board as well. And there were so many more people in the community who were so excited about this idea of neighbors helping neighbors. And could that happen here in Silver Spring? And 10 years later, you've succeeded. And you have succeeded so much so that I didn't even know this fact, Doug. You are the largest villages in the entire state. And I think that is awesome. And that is a testament to all of you. It's a testament to the staff. It's a testament to government at all levels who are going to continue to support your efforts. And I'll correct the county executive. We will continue funding you into the future. I remind him often that it's the legislative branch, the county council, that holds the purse strings. So yes, so this is a collective effort. But I'll just close on this. I was looking at the information here and seeing all the incredible people. And I do want to give a shout out to friends of mine and friends of many of you, some founding board members who aren't here anymore, who conceived this idea, who worked for many years, Roberta and Sylvia and Mary Ann and others, who would be so proud to see everything that we've been doing, and ultimately, most exceptionally, neighbors helping neighbors, and that's what this organization is all about. And so thank you. Let's go on for another 10 years, and I look forward to seeing all of you here in 10 years. So thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kate Stewart. I'm the District 4 representative on the Montgomery County Council, and I'm thrilled to be here with all of you this evening. Doug, thank you so much. And for everyone who volunteers, who are members, who work to make this such a vibrant organization. As I look out at all of you today, I'm actually reminded of my own family. I grew up living with my grandparents and living with especially my grandmother, and having that connection with her, and also knowing how much she needed our family. Because as the county exec said, one of the things that we need to fight against, especially under COVID, and especially during the times we're living in, is the loneliness of being by ourselves. And I remember living with my grandmother and what a gift that was until she passed. And now, just a few blocks from me, I'm lucky enough to live near my mother-in-law, who's just a few blocks. And every Sunday night, we have dinner together. No matter what else is going on, it's family dinner, and I am not allowed to bring my phone to the table. So if you're trying to get a hold of me between 5 and 6:30 on Sunday night, sorry, Barbara says no phones. But it is about making those connections and being there for each other, and that's what the village does. Because you are neighbors, helping neighbors, but you're truly family, helping family. And I just want to thank you for all the people in my life who you help, and we are just so fortunate to have you in our community. Thank you.
And so the three of us have an official proclamation. We're not going to read the whole thing, but I will jump to the very end where it says, "And be it further resolved that the county executive and county council express their deep appreciation on behalf of Silver Spring and Montgomery County residents for Silver Spring Village's valuable work improving the quality of life for older adults." And so we're proud to present this to you. Doug, you want to do a picture? Too?
Thank you for those kind words. You know, we're most grateful to the county executive and the council for so generously supporting not only Silver Spring Village, but all of the county's villages through the budget process, and for being willing to support us in other ways throughout the year. And now I'd like to welcome state delegates Laura Charkoudian, Bernice Miracu North, and Janelle Wilkins to present a citation from the Maryland House of Delegates.
Good evening, Silver Spring Village. I am Delegate Janelle Wilkins. I represent this district, District 20, which is the Silver Spring Tacoma Park area, along with Delegate Charkoudian and Delegate Moon in the House and Senator Will Smith. We're so happy to be here. I'm joined by my two colleagues.
Good evening. I'm Delegate Lorig Charkoudian, and I will just say a couple words of congratulations. We will be brief, but I do need to say a couple of things. One is that I've just been such an admirer and so grateful for the Silver Spring Village and for all the villages that we have in our community. And for years, I've admired, supported, and been grateful for them. And this year, it became very personal for me. My parents live in Massachusetts, and as I was talking to my father, and he was describing some of the challenges they're having aging in place, and supporting my mother who's ill, and all of the challenges that he's facing, I said, I know just the thing. And so I Googled, and I was like, there's got to be a village in Newton, Massachusetts, and sure enough, there is. And I talked to the director, and we've connected them. And my father was like, this is extraordinary. And I was like, I know. And it is, I've seen the extraordinariness as a representative and been grateful for it, and now I see it as a daughter of folks who are joining soon the village and their community. And so my gratitude just continues, and my heart is full, and I'm so thankful, and congratulations, and we look forward to continuing to support your efforts.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Delegate Bernice American North, and I am not part of District 20. I'm part of District 14. The reason why I'm here is that I was one of the, as printed out on the page, honestly, I didn't know that was going to happen, one of the volunteers that actually was part of the founding group. And so I'm just humbled that 10 years ago, I remember sitting in the room and hearing about Silver Spring Village as a member of the Silver Spring Citizens Advisory Board, and I'm clearly not a retired age. I was in my 30s, but I thought this is a no-brainer. I'm the daughter of a nurse that worked with retirement communities pretty much her whole life, so I knew this was a no-brainer option. And to see this come to fruition, to see this room so filled, it just shows you how community involvement really matters and vision really matters. So just special shout out to the founders, the ones that are no longer with us. Roberta immediately came to mind, as well as the rest listed in the paper. You guys have really, really made this come to life. And to all of you for making this the largest village in the state. I mean, this is amazing. I looked at one of the pictures up there. I said, I remember that room. I remember that room. A room of 8 people bringing this to life after 10 years. So thank you for all you do, and thank you for having me. So on behalf of the entire Maryland General Assembly, we celebrate you and we thank you for making Silver Spring a great place to age in place. And I'd like to read an official citation from the Maryland General Assembly. Official citation, be it hereby known to all that sincerest congratulations are offered to Silver Spring Village in recognition of their 10th anniversary celebration and the contribution Silver Spring Village has made to older adults, allowing them to live as independently as possible. Presented on this 11th day of October 2023. Thank you.
And like our local government, our leaders in Annapolis do a great job in supporting healthy aging. In fact, the village just received its first ever state grant from the Department of Aging to increase outreach to people of color, people with low income, and other underserved residents of our community. And this is not in my script, but I was inspired by a couple of things that Kate Stewart had to say. And I have to thank my great-grandmother, Rose Nell Cundiff, who was born in 1894, because when I was in first grade, my mother was a working mother. And I got home about 30 minutes, I got home from school about 30 minutes before she did. So I was alone in the house every day for 30 minutes. And we had a suburban house, had a full basement, and I was absolutely 100% certain that that basement was completely inhabited by monsters of every possible description. And I would come in the back, I would let myself in the back door, there was a phone right by the back door, and I would sit at the kitchen table. And every single day, I called my great-grandmother. And that's where I learned how to be friends with an older adult. She was more than a great-grandmother. She was the person that I had the most fascinating conversations with. We'd sing songs, she would tell stories. It was just the most wonderful thing. So I think that's a big part of why I'm here today. Okay, now I'm gonna stop choking up here. So now for what, and by the way, I'm also doing like all the lights and the video and all that, so I may be doing some some stuff up here. But now for what I think is going to be the highlight of this evening. Early during the planning process for this event, someone popped up and said, we should have a video. And our very talented member, Tom Diaz, channeling his very best impersonation of Star Trek's Captain Jean-Luc Picard, responded, make it so. So I'm going to tell you all, buckle up for a thrilling ride as we take a look. Now hang on while I do all this.
From WAMU 88.5 at American University in Washington, welcome to the Kojo Namdi Show, connecting your neighborhood with the world. Several years ago, retirees all over the region began creating organizations to help themselves and their neighbors age in place. Got an email or a call from Martine in Silver Spring who says some of us in Silver Spring are starting a village.
It was an adventure, something that none of them had ever done before. It was like climbing a mountain, or making your first scuba dive, or jumping out of an airplane, or, well, let's let them tell the story of the spaceship that became a village.
I love to build intergalactic spaceships. And by that I mean complex organizations where you have to fit all the pieces together.
There was no manual for spaceship design. They made it up as they went along.
Starting a village and running a village is a lot of work. I think that we had no idea.
So I had quit my job, my professional job, because I wanted to give back to the community. And I started teaching this bone builders class, which was a new class in the county. And in the training class, I meet Martine, and we became friends. And one day she says to me, have I ever heard of a senior village? And I'm going, no, where is it? Obviously, one person could never do it all, and we didn't really know what we were doing anyway. So we figured, okay, the more people, the more we could, figure it all out together.
If Martine Bresius was the architect, Roberta Gosier was the fuel cell of this new spaceship.
First met Roberta Gosier singing in the choir at St. Michael the Archangels in Silver Spring.
She was interesting combination, Mm-hmm. She had those instincts like that, the organizer yet the good heart,
They thought it was a great idea. So why wouldn't others also think it was a great idea? They networked. And they found scores of people who agreed with them. It was a great idea. Unfortunately, that was just about all they agreed on. If you put 10 people into a planning meeting, you'll get 100 opinions. The perfect soon became the enemy of the good.
Nobody had any first-hand knowledge of a village, but everyone had an idea of what the ideal, let's say, elephant should look like. People should pay. People didn't have to pay. People should be 60 years old. People could be any age. People could have to live in downtown Silver Spring.
A few years of that churn was like slipping on ice. It was enough to drive even the most determined right over the edge.
One night she came home and said, you know, letting her hair down to me, she says, we gotta stop planning and start doing.
My thought was, hey, we just have to get the hogs off the truck and do the damn thing.
A few of us had lunch together at the Copper Canyon restaurant in Silver Spring. And besides those of us working on our village, Peggy Simpson from one of the DC area villages was there. And she just said, you know, you gotta just do it.
Pretty soon, it was all systems go, Silver Spring. The village officially opened for business on September 29, 2013, and it held a gala opening event on October 20th.
I saw Roberta the day before she died and went up to Holy Cross to see her. And didn't know that she was on her way out. I knew she was really sick. I just looked at her, I said, you did it. She said, no, we did it.
For 7 years, Silver Spring Village thrived. Much of this work was led by another founder, Mary Ann Zimmerman. As a single woman fighting cancer, but still living at home and fully engaged in the community, Mary Ann instinctively knew how the village could impact others.
I'm proud of what we've done. I think we do a good job at the things that we said we were going to do, and we've been able to keep it up.
To the surprise and joy of some of its original founders, member-sponsored activities grew at an amazing rate with equally amazing variety.
The interest groups grew because other people saw other people doing it. But the other part, they did things for themselves.
Silver Spring Village became so strong that it was able to open its wings to a fledgling village in nearby Kemp Mill. They eventually merged to the benefit of both.
A friend of mine who was on the board still at the time talked to me about it. She said, we're thinking about approaching the Silver Spring Village and seeing, is it a possibility where we could be merged in? What do you think, Bev? And I said, well, I think it's a super idea because, again, the Silver Spring Village has such a strong reputation in the county.
Then, something very scary appeared. Its name was COVID.
So COVID was very much a shock to the system. It was, frankly, I think traumatic, both as individuals and as an organization. I recall very clearly it was Friday the 13th of March, 2020. I had been at the village for maybe 5 months at that point, and I suddenly found myself having to say, we need to shut this down.
I think the reason why we succeeded in getting through COVID and why we're here for 10 years is because we did get a paid staff. That really makes a difference. And it became very clear during COVID.
One of the most frustrating parts of the COVID experience was a year or so after the appearance of the disease to find that we had vaccines, but no one could get them.
One of the other things that we were able to do because we had paid staff, as well as some very active volunteers, is we could start making calls and going online to make vaccination appointments for our members.
So at the beginning of the COVID pandemic, when we began looking at how we could do things differently, Zoom obviously was the big thing. And we were the only village in this area, and as far as I know, the only village in the country that was using Zoom to the extent that we were very early on in the pandemic. By the end of the first month of the pandemic, we had every single one of our social, recreational educational groups going on Zoom. And I really think that is what made the difference and held the village together throughout the pandemic.
Silver Spring Village today is robust and growing. The village was recognized by Spur Local as one of the most critical and highly trusted nonprofits in the greater DC region.
So I see the future of the village as it's reflected in our vision statement, and that is to become the indispensable partner in Silver Spring for successful and happy aging.
One of the things I'm a big advocate for is to either join or volunteer when you're younger before you actually need the services, because then you start to build friendships. And when you do go to retire, you're already set up with friend base, and when you need the services, it's your friends who are helping you out.
So, Tom, I'm not sure where you are, but stand up and take another bow. Let me just... Now we're back to normal. So, I've seen this video several times in various edits over the last couple of months, and each time it just makes me kind of smile and giggle. So thanks to Tom, to Peggy, to all of the interviewees and others who were involved in this effort. We didn't want to give anyone a sneak peek of this, but now that you've seen it, the video will be posted to the Village's YouTube channel, where you'll be able to share it with your friends, family, neighbors, enemies, whoever you'd like to share it with. Funders, yes, absolutely funders. And now I would like our board president, Sue Decker, to join me. My script says on stage, but we don't have a stage here, so you can join me up here in my corner to celebrate some people who've worked very, very hard for the village and its members.
Thank you very much, Doug, for everything today. It's been great, really a great program. I know some of you know my story, but maybe not all of you, but I actually joined the village 8 years ago, and it was when I was approached by Mary Ann Zimmerman, who was one of the original founders. They needed a treasurer, and so she knew that was my background, so she came and asked me if I would join the board and serve that function. And I was very fortunate because when I joined, many of the founders were still on the board. And now I'm going to get emotional. But I remember, I came from a corporate environment. I saw a lot of boards in action. But I was so impressed with the foundation that they had built and the passion and the focused commitment they had to the mission that I'm still here. and I stuck with it. And it was a real honor to have served with many of them. And I think the other thing I want to say is that it's very important that we celebrate this history today, because it's important that it kind of will inspire us to see what our founders did and maybe rekindle our own passion for the village and what the village does. I mean, what we have is very special. And let's hope that it can continue with the next generation of leaders who come along so that it will be what it is. We'd now like to recognize our founding board members. So as I call your name, will you please come forward? We have a little memento for you for your efforts. So that would include Martine Grisius, Gary Klauber, Claire Macklin, May Novak, Bruce Rosenthal, and Jackie Whalen. So what we are giving to them, stay for a picture, please. What we are giving them is a spaceship. This one is actually for Ann McHenry, who couldn't be here because she is celebrating her 50th wedding anniversary. But anyway, I'll make sure she gets it. But if we could get a group picture. Doug, you want to? Oh, yeah, I guess Jackie wasn't here. Okay, the next award that we want to give out is called the Roberta Gozer Award. This was actually, well, you heard about Roberta in the video, but she was actually our first board president. And when she passed, the board had decided that they wanted to have an award in her memory, specifically for volunteers that provide direct services to our full members. So that's people who give rides, who do medical note-taking, who help organize homes, who do friendly phone calls and visits, who run errands, and I'm probably missing a few, tech support, all of the volunteer services that we have. And, is he here? I think so. Okay. So anyway, the other thing I wanted to tell you is that this is what we call Perpetual Award. So this is hanging in our office, and past winners have been Jane Brown, Debbie Gilbert, who I think is here if you want to rise, Carol McCown, is she here? And then Nancy Caparasso, which I know is not here. So our winner this year is someone who is consistently one of our top volunteer drivers, was also a backup driver during COVID, doing critical medical appointments for our members. And that is Brian Eggleston. See here? I was looking for you. Please come on up, Brian. You will now live in our office as well. Okay, I'm now going to hand it over to Doug because we have two special Diamond Awards. Since this is our Diamond anniversary, we have two special awards. I'll take care of that.
And they really are a Diamond Award. So as Sue noted, the Gozer Award can only be received one time. Sometime during the planning for tonight's festivities, we idly wondered who had volunteered the greatest number of hours since the village was founded. After some digging through piles and piles and piles of years of records, we found that this person has given 2,071 hours, nearly $71,000 worth of time, to support village members. With that in mind, we couldn't not give a special award, a Diamond Award in celebration of our Diamond anniversary to a person who is so wonderfully generous. Please join me in giving a huge round of applause to our Diamond in the Rough, our Volunteer of the Decade, Jane Brown. Jane, where are you? And the time is drawing nigh. But we want to have one last award for this evening. And this award is something of a surprise to the winner. The Anniversary Celebration Planning Committee specifically wanted to bestow a once-in-a-decade award to a person who embodies everything the village stands for. The person they selected is an unshakable advocate for aging and community, and cares deeply about the welfare of every person in this room. The person has seen the village from the inside out during its greatest successes and during the darkest moments of the COVID pandemic. They have contributed tirelessly to the organization's continued success and growth since arriving on the village's radar in 2014. On behalf of the Planning Committee, I'm very happy to be just the messenger who gets to ask my colleague and friend, Vanessa Rips, to join me up here to be recognized. We also have one additional elected official, David Moon, who has arrived, so I'm not sure where he is out there, but welcome. So this concludes the formal part of our program for the evening, and the script tells me that I should remind you that we have the room until 7 o'clock, so feel free to continue talking with one another, but obviously that's not going to be the possibility. So feel free to scatter, to scatter as quickly as you can. Our cleanup crew has to get started. I see that it looks like they're already taking down the photo booth over there. But as you leave, please stop by the registration table in the atrium. We have a small treat for everyone to take home with you. And we're also going to be delivering some of those to our members who were unable to attend tonight because of illness. And when you get home, be sure to take the time, just discipline yourself to sit down with your calendar and mark the date for October of 2033 when we will celebrate the 20th anniversary.
Can I please have all the current board members up here because we'd like Cecilia to take a picture for us? Current board members, please don't leave. Come back. Come back. Current board members.